Missouri Governor Mike Parson appointed Vivek Malek to fulfill and take over the role of state treasurer about halfway through a four-year term, and the incumbent Republican is now running for his first four-year term in that office, and he joins us now on the record. Mr. Malek, thank you for joining us.
Mark, thank you very much for having me.
I see in your campaign materials a part of your biography, your story, both about your arrival to America and your work in that immigration space. How important is that part of your biography to what you would bring to this office?
I think it is very important. This basically depicts what an American dream is, and I have lived it myself. I came to the United States in 2001 as an international student on a student visa, and then I arrived in Cape Girardeau and instantly fell in love with the state and knew exactly that I want to raise my family here and want to live in Missouri. Not only I earned 2 master's degree, I earned my MBA from Southeast, and thereafter went on to earn my master's in law degree from University of Illinois. And thereafter I practiced, worked hard building a law firm, and I practiced law for 15 years, helping other legal immigrants achieve their American dream. So for me, this is a very important piece in my, not only biography, but my life story.
You say legal immigrants.
Yes.
And I wonder why you highlight that. Obviously, you're familiar with the rhetoric. Your campaign itself, in the primary, referenced the border wall with Mexico and the southern border. What did you do as an immigration lawyer if someone came to you and said, hey, I've lived here, I don't have the proper documentation? Did you turn them away?
No, if the law allows you certain things when you are in this country, but my practice dealt mostly with business immigration, where we help companies bring in skilled labor in H-1B, L-1s, intra-company employees, professors, doctors, students, and help also with obtaining citizenship for legal immigrants who are here on a green card.
I want to move on to other parts of the office, but I'm really curious to get your take on this, because around that time when you moved here, the Reagan Republican, the George Bush Republican, they believed that immigration to this country was a positive thing. It showed America's strength, that we were the home of the largest number of visitors of any country in the world, people that wanted to come here. Why do you think the Republican Party rhetoric has shifted on that topic?
I don't think it has shifted. I think it is how it is portrayed by the other side today. I think immigration is still very important. It is still very good, and it is good for America. And I say, as President Reagan proudly used to say, America is a shining city on the hill. That is because of immigration, because we used to import the talent and the skill set that would put America at the cutting edge of technology. When you talk about all these different innovators, whether it's Elon Musk or Satya Nadella or Sundar Pichai, I mean, they are all immigrants who have made a huge impact to the American economy, to the technology where we are the leaders. So I think immigration is key, but it has to be legal immigration, and it has to be merit-based immigration. And other countries have moved in that direction, and it is time for America to move in that direction.
And you highlighted this, this storyline, this rhetoric in your campaign. Can you connect the dots between America's immigration policy to the work of the Missouri State Treasurer's Office? Is there some connection?
Absolutely, and that I was criticized that I was on a border wall. What is the Treasurer doing on a border wall? And I found it very important based on 2 reasons. First, it is personal to me because I feel letting people in without knowing who they are, without knowing what the skill set they're bringing in, what qualities they're bringing in, it is sometimes can be dangerous. And we have seen those things happening. And I'm not saying that everybody's bad, but I think there's a process, there's a rule of law, and we need to follow that rule of law. If we need to improve those things, we need to improve those things through our immigration system, change the laws, and that is overdue, and we need to do that. But the second thing is, Treasurer's Office, I am in charge of all the money that goes out to for all these programs, whether it is education or healthcare. And right now, with more than 85,000 illegal, undocumented immigrants present in Missouri, part of that money goes for that as well. So I would like,
how much?
It is hard to quantify
Because
you do not know what services they are taking, whether it is through the education system, through sending their kids to school, or it is through the healthcare system. And so, but the state has to foot that bill. I would want that money to be going for the betterment, for the utilization of American citizens and Missourians.
Let's talk about how you would approach the investment decisions, because you and your Democratic opponent, Mark Osmak, who appeared on this program 2 weeks ago, have talked about whether or not to invest with a conscience. He has drawn the line at saying he wouldn't want to invest in any companies or holdings owned by an adversary nation. He listed those as Iran and Russia. You've taken it a step farther and said you would not invest in companies held in China because you think there might be a dramatic loss there, if I understand your position correctly at some point. When voters head to the ballot box this November, do you think that they expect the state treasurer to set America's foreign policy?
No, but I am there to make sure that our taxpayers' dollars are wisely invested and they are safe and secure investments. Right now, we do not need to invest on our adversaries, and China at this current time is an adversary nation by the actions that it has taken. And
by the definition of the State Department, only Chinese military companies. There's a broad economy. It's the second biggest economy in the world. Right?
I understand, but most of the companies that are controlled by the Communist Party of China, the CCP, I don't consider those investments to be safe. And that has come even from the Biden administration. The way they have skirted the transparency of financial documentation, they have manipulated their currency, stealing intellectual property from the American companies. All these amounts to that. And recently, the aggression that their military has shown towards Taiwan, which shows that if ever, which intelligence also points very clearly that there could be an aggression, there could be a takeover of Taiwan by China, and if they attack Taiwan, all our investment will be tanked and become zero if they nationalize those. So I personally feel that is not correct, and that's why I led the effort and fought it to make sure that our retirees' money is divested from China.
You see that as a high-risk portion of the state's portfolio, as it were. I want to ask you about this. You said you wanted to stop, quote, woke investing. Your opponent says that's something to distract voters from what really does matter. He would invest with a conscience in this way. He said he would have questions, if not outright reluctance, to invest in things like fossil fuels, to invest in things like private prisons, or in weapons manufacturers. Are there any things outside of just adversary nations, types of industry, that you think are not in the public interest?
Well, my simple goal is to make sure that we receive the best rate of return on our investments.
So profit over all else?
Exactly. And that's what I would be investing in, making sure that our national interests are also met at the same time. We are not investing in adversary nations or companies that are out there to harm the United States. As long as these two interests are met, my basic thing is the bottom line to make sure that we receive the best rate of interest and our investments are safe and secure for our Missouri taxpayers.
You also oversee a very important program as it pertains to private education in Missouri. Public dollars effectively flow through your office to go to pay tuition funds for students to attend these private schools. And it's a roundabout tax break, but because those are public dollars created by the public legislature, does the public have an interest in seeing how those private schools spend the money? Should these private schools receiving these dollars open their books?
Yes, and what this program is really is, it's a tax credit program, as you correctly mentioned. The amount is so small compared to what our education budget for the state is, which is right now about $10 to $11 billion. And the program that we are currently managing is about $27 million, so it's peanuts in front of that.
You see that growing?
There's a limit to that, how much it can grow,
Currently.
and that cap is at $75 million, which will grow every year based on the CPI, how the inflation grows, and that how it will increase to a $75 million cap. So the maximum amount that you can invest in that program is only $75 million. But the basic thing is, I am a very strong, staunch proponent of the issue that every Missouri child should have a world-class education irrespective of where they live, and they should have the capacity to achieve their God-given potential and succeed. And I think some of our school districts are failing in doing that, especially in our inner cities. And this is an option where these kids, their parents can get that option to go send their kids to a school of their choice.
You're speaking to the larger question about policy. I appreciate that. I'm asking you about your role as an investor, a fiduciary. Should the public have eyes on those books to know how those dollars are spent? If they're public dollars, does the public have a right to know?
I think the Missouri portal and my office has publishes that report quarterly, that how much donations we have received and which EA, which is the Educational Assistance Organization, has received those funds. And there's a list of all these schools to which they also tell how many scholarships has gone to which school. So I think it is very transparent.
But that doesn't lead us to how they spend the money. That tells us how much money they got, doesn't tell us where they spent it.
Well, I mean, if you see from the public education system, right now every kid who is going to public school is about $14,000. This scholarship is only half of that, $7,000. So any kid who is going to a private school receives a scholarship of $6,300. So I think that is going towards the tuition money for that child in those schools.
I hear you. Pleasure to have you on and hearing part of your vision for the state of of Missouri's finances and its future. Vivek Malek, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We're back in a moment.
Today in St. Louis is weather plus traffic.
Let's check your weather impact forecast this morning. 7 miles an hour on the bridge, so we need to talk about solutions.
Anthony Slaughter and Paul Cook have you covered. Out the door, on the roads.
I've got my eyes on a system that's moving into the St. Louis metro. Expect some delays if you're heading past the downtown bridges. I'll tell you what weather to expect and when it will arrive. And I'll show you how that will impact your drive.
Get your weather plus traffic every morning on Today in St. Louis to start your day safe and prepared.
We're back now with Overtime with Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malek. We cut you off before we could get into MoBucks. What is it? How does it work?
MoBucks is a low-interest cost loan program in the Treasurer's Office. The annual cap used to be at $800 million for that program, where we give out low-interest cost loans to small businesses and farmers across the state. Before I took office, that program never reached its capacity and never even reached half of its mark. We grew the program to a point where it reached its maximum cap of $800 million last year, and this year we were able to secure more money into the program, which is basically the Treasurer's Office money, through legislative effort, and received additional $400 million in the program, and we capped out that as well. So we are currently at $1.2 billion, and we have helped thousands of small businesses and farmers to make sure that they're not only able to sustain their businesses and farming activities, but also growing it in these tough times of high inflation and high interest rates.
You said low interest rates.
Correct.
Same rates for everybody?
For small, as long as you're a Missouri enterprise, you're a small business of less than 100 employees, you can get a 30% reduction on your prime interest rate.
So it's a variable number.
Yeah, so
Depending
whatever your
on-
prime is, if your prime rate is 8%, you will be getting at 6.5%.
And you alluded to it when you referred to high inflation, but the cost of borrowing money has gone up. It's cooling a bit, but still high. So
Yes.
Rough estimate, if you're a small business owner with, say, 100 employees, how much savings is there to be realized in the the length of that loan?
It's a 5-year loan program, so there's a significant savings which you can use to grow your business, especially when your interest rates are as high as 9%, and if you're getting a 30% reduction on that, that could be a significant saving for a small business.
And for small business owners, farmers, people looking to apply for loans like this, where do they go?
So they go to treasurer.mo.gov and they can apply under investments, and they have to work with their banks to apply for this program. And I'm also very proud of my record of returning most unclaimed property of any past treasurer in the history. And we have come up with innovative ways of partnering with the license office across the state and also with banks to make sure that word gets out. And I think KSDK should also check if they have any unclaimed money, and you should also
The company
check.
and the person. Yeah, I found
Yes.
some in Illinois, actually, some
Absolutely.
coins under the couch cushions,
Yeah,
if
so
you will.
we are currently sitting on about $1.4 billion of Missourians' money, which is not doing anybody any good. So I would say, come get your money. It is showmemoney.com.
Okay, but in that statement you said, come get it. Your Democratic opponent is saying, if he were in your job, you wouldn't have to come get it. He'd come find you. He'd find the money and he'd ping you with a notice. Can the state do that?
We are already doing that, and we are taking very innovative steps in moving in that direction to have sharing of information across departments to get that money to you. But still, we also advertise very heavily once a year and also through PSAs to make sure people are aware of that.
He was so generous with his time, he gave us some overtime Treasurer Vivek Malek, thank you again.
Thank you, Mark.